Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks-only gambling show in the multiverse. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. Come out and find me on Twitter at Clinton Bon. And we've got a bit of an Omaha today, a little bit of an audible coming in hot from Missoula, Montana, right there. Kalispell, I believe, actually. Missoula, is that right? Kalispell. We got Brandan Schultz. He's coming in, taking the load off for Adam today. We'll talk about Adam a lot today, actually. But Brandan's here. Find him out on Twitter at SeahawkersPod. And of course, back. He's home for the Thanksgiving break. The Princetonian of parlays himself, Mr. Wilson Kahn. He's got his nice kit on, repping the USA kit. The big match a little later today. Before we watch USA versus England, the 1776, the 1812, all the mathology already, we're going to talk about some other math, some other numbers. We're talking Seahawks versus Raiders, where you should be laying your lumber. People say, don't bet your team. Never bet your team. This group, we say hogwash. We know this team, the Seattle Seahawks, better than any other team in the NFL. So we're going to lay the PNW lumber, where they got that good lumber on our team. Gentlemen, how are we feeling as we march into, let's put the Seahawks aside for a second. Wilson, you got the kid on. How many is USA winning by today? And where should we wait? Where should we lay that money? What, by 2, 3, 4 goals? What's the big blowout look like?
I think it'd be nice to hope for a draw. I don't know about the win. If I'm giving you my professional advice, I would not take USA money line. However, if I'm giving you my USA fan advice, I would say take it plus 600 on DraftKings right now. Let's ride.
Well, that's right. All right, Brandan. So plus 600. Careful. That sounds a little, you think you know what, Brandan?
A little spicy.
Plus 600.
Even only my fail Mary today is going to be above plus 600, and I have a pretty spicy one on tap.
Oh, nice.
As I replace Adam, who is unfortunately under the weather, so we're gonna miss our regular episode 392 this week. And hopefully he gets better, because this, for Adam to get sick on his favorite holiday, I think we need to have a little bit of feeling for him. And bummer that to be around his favorite holiday and not be able to enjoy a Thanksgiving meal. We're thinking of you, Adam. You're in our thoughts.
Absolutely. You are in our thoughts, and you're in this friggin' Brandan, might as well hit the switch. Might as well show the graphic that's sitting there. We all know it's there. He's not only in our thoughts, he's kind of like haunting our souls at this point. So this is now, you see the little crown on top of Adam. We'll go through the whole thing already. 6 out of the last 7 weeks. The guy who knows nothing about gambling, by the way, knows nothing about it. He's won 6 out of 7. The heater kind of continues. Wilson had it 2 weeks ago. This is, of course, the Bucs game we're showing right here. And I'll say this, guys. It's one thing if you go 3 for 3 on your normal bets. When the Seahawks win and they kind of win going away, that's kind of easier. When the Seahawks lose and you still go 3 for 3 on bet 1, bet 2, and bet 3, there's nothing I could do. But I'd say tip the crown, but I don't own the crown. I'll just tip the proverbial hat and say Adam is the king of the court once again. So heal up, dude. Revel in this victory once again. And we're bringing in Brandan. So maybe, just maybe, Wilson's always got a shot. He was 2 for 3. He was in the money. I was stunk as we enter this holiday season. 1 for 3 on the regular bets. Real quickly for the folks out there, maybe this is your first time through PNW Prop Stars. First of all, it's one of 5 unique shows that we put out every single week on Seahawkers, the Seahawkers podcast, the whole stream. So youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast, wherever you got ears, make sure you're subscribing. The reviews, the bells, the likes, it all helps increase the Hawkra. On this particular show, we place 4 bets a week, totaling $31 in honor of Wilson.
Cam Chancellor or DJ Dallas, if you are a special teams expert.
If you're so inclined, DJ Dallas just for the win this year, to go north and south and maybe never be on punt returns again. We don't know, but $31, $10 each for bet 1, 2, and bet 1, 2, and 3. And then bet 4 is called the Fail Mary, a $1 bet plus 1,200 odds or longer. Brandan, the Fail Mary is, of course, named after...
Yeah, the successful Golden Tate catch for a Seahawks win against the Green Bay Packers.
That's correct. And it's plus 1,200 or more. y'all could figure that one out. If you can't, you're probably on the wrong podcast. All right. So this was last week. Wilson, real quick for you. Besides Adam taking it once again, going 3 for 3 in the normals, what were you excited about that hit for you? Or maybe the one that you deviated from Adam. Maybe that was your mistake, Wilson. You should have just copied Adam 3 for 3. But what's your take on 2 weeks ago's performance?
Well, I think I should have known better on the over. Adam kind of called that out as maybe a bad call on my end on the bet number 3, and I think I got burned a little bit in terms of my Hakra for going against my own rule of plus 300 or greater, and you know what? I got what I deserve. So look out this week. I'm well exceeding my plus 300 on my third down bet this time.
Nice. He's level. He's got to make up for being under the Wilson 300, which he claimed his bet number 3 would always be plus 300. And then he breaks his own rule and pays the price for it. So Adam takes it home. The only one that I won was the same one that we all won. By the way, we don't look at each other's bets. We don't know what they're going to be. So if you see a duplicate or a triplicate, it's just because we all thought the bet was a good one. Brady tried his darndest. He almost had 36 and a half yards a couple of times, but it did hit under. Everything else, I was a disaster. I was too much of a homer, and I got burnt by it. Brandon, as you look back on these, any commentary on the 2 weeks ago, or are you ready to get into this week's while you take the place of the king of the court right now?
Yeah, well, I played along with you guys. I
Nice.
thought that you made a good choice on the Brady long pass, so I went with that myself and got the win on that one. And I also went with the Marquise Goodwin anytime touchdown.
Ooh.
And so I think if I were playing against you guys, I think that would have put me over Adam, even though I only hit 2 out of my 3.
Oh, because I'm sure the Marquise Goodwin was what, a plus 800 or something like that?
Yeah, it was plus
something.
It was at least plus 600 or better.
Yeah, that's pretty spicy. And that was a beautiful one watching that live, right? That was like, it's one of those 4th and 1s, like, what are we doing? And then yes, we're doing it. And that was a heck of a throw and a heck of a catch. So hopefully we see more of that this week against I would say a pretty bad Raiders defense. And it even probably, well, they ain't good across the board on defense. And with that, maybe some real challenges with defending the pass. So I maybe a little foreshadowing for me there for the rest of the group on where I'm going. But we have rules here. It's just like golf. If you win the last hole, you get honors on the next hole. Brandon is here in lieu of Adam, who's recovering. So Brandon, honors is yours. Bet 1, hole 1. Where are you going? Why do you like it?
Honors is mine, and in honor of Adam, I really like this one. Anyway, Geno Smith under 0.5 for interceptions against the Las Vegas Raiders, paying minus 128. So yeah, obviously not paying a lot. Geno only 4 interceptions on the season, but this Raiders defense doesn't have a lot of takeaways. Now, could they tip one up and have something weird happen? Sure, but Geno's been awfully good with the football. The Raiders, not a good takeaway type defense. And so I really like the minus 128.
Ooh, I like that you did that because it is a bit of an homage. He likes that play. Adam boldly took a Brady interception last week. You probably saw that on the board. So
Yep.
in his honor, that came true, right? We had 2 interceptions, one thrown by what's his face, Fournette. And one actually thrown by Brady, which he only had 1 on the year, and he doubled up. So Adam hit that. So I like that. I like the fact that you kind of went to Adam's neighborhood there, extracted that in his honor, and I love that bet. The Raiders don't turn the ball over all that much. I'll go to my first down bet before handing it over to the youngin. So I checked the weather. We did What If a couple of days ago, and the weather looked pretty crappy. It looked like 60-70% chance of rain. It looked like good solid downpour throughout the early afternoon in Seattle. Check it this morning, and it's like down to 20-30% and like maybe light rain. So trending the right way. I think this is a pretty high scoring affair. So I don't normally take a normal popular bet like this. However, at 47.5, I'm hitting the over at this at minus 110. I just think that we're going to score a good amount of points. And I think the Raiders are going to do some damage, do some damage here for sure. So over 47.5 gets us there at -110. All right, Wilson, you get to react to either of those, or, get to your first down bet. What do you want to talk about?
I like both of them. I wish especially that Geno one had caught my eye, but I just missed it. But I'm going in a sort of high scoring direction, at least, with my first down bet. The Lockett receiving yards seem pretty low to me at 62.5. I'm going to take that at -115. The Raiders defense sucks. Yeah, I think there's a chance, we haven't seen it in a minute, but Lockett maybe breaks one over the top too in this game. That's something I'd like to see. I know we got that twice back in the Saints game. I think that's a possibility with this really, really bad, especially the secondary is not good.
It's not good. We played a little game on What If where we tried to guess, were they U.S. men's soccer players or Raiders DBs as Brandan presented them, and I got one wrong, and then Phil got one wrong. So they're not exactly the strongest defensive backfield. They've been exposed. Brandan, you were hot to trot on DK, hoping for a DK breakout when we talked on What If. So what do you think of Wilson's, or, what do you think of Wilson's? Do you think that Lockett is the guy, or is there some foreshadowing to tuck away some DK talk for you for a few future bets?
I think at that number for Tyler, you would have to take that. I don't know what the DK number is, but I feel like both receivers over 80 yards is a real possibility. Of course, then you got to think about the tight ends. The tight ends one is a little bit tough because it seems to rotate, and I don't know with the bye week whose turn it is.
Yeah, whose day is it? Yep.
to get the ball this week at tight end. So, I like the Lockett one, and I mean, you could talk me into the DK one too. And I think I actually do have a Lockett one. Do I? No, I don't. I considered a Lockett one for touchdowns in this game. I really. Okay, I know maybe I'm jumping ahead.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was looking at Tyler Lockett and Devontae Adams, both having a receiving touchdown at +415, and
Ooh.
that seemed like a really for that kind of odds, that seems kind of likely.
Not bad. And folks, if folks are always scrambling with +415, the plus side's easier. If you bet $5 or you bet $10 on +415, then you're making $41.50. So your payout would be, in that case, $51.50, a little 51.50 for the Van Halen fans out there. Which would be that's a spicy meatball for two dudes who score a lot of touchdowns. Lockett's got 5 on the year. He's got 3 in a row. And Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams.
He's got 10. He's got 10 on the year. So he's averaging 1 per game.
Wow. I didn't realize he had 10 already. That's on a team that's been really up and down too. Pretty good offensively, but they've had some duds in there, like that New Orleans game, that 24-0 game is oof. But it happens. It's the NFL. People throw up duds every now and again. I'm going to go on to bet number 2. I get the first wave at it. All right. So I don't think there's a dud coming for the man, Geno Smith. This week we looked at FanDuel, we looked at DraftKings, and Brandan, I think you looked at the app that you actually have access to in Washington, or sorry, in Montana, because there's all these different rules in 50 states, et cetera, et cetera. So different ways you could play. But I think this one was on FanDuel, I'm pretty sure. You could take the alternative passing yards for Geno. So Vegas is predicting right around 255, 256, something like that for Geno. So it's a pretty good NFL day, right? If we tweak this just a smidgen up to over 275, they're paying you 148. I like the number. I have a fear as how that might miss, but I'll turn it over to Wilson for some reaction. Geno over 275 yards, paying 148. What do you think of my second down action there?
It's a big number. My only concern is we'll actually have so easy time running the ball that we won't even need to pass, or we'll get ahead by a lot and not need to throw that much. I don't hate it, but I don't think I'd personally take it just because the number's too big for me.
I might cry now. Brandan, what do you think, buddy? Do you think I've got a shot at this 275?
Yeah, I think you've got a shot. You think that it's going to be a passing heavy offense, and if the Seahawks do what they're supposed to do and pass to set up the run, then I like the chances of hitting the over on that. I was just looking on mine real quick to see what Sportsbet Montana had, and it is minus 119 for over 277.5.
Whoa.
But you also get the rushing yards too.
Oh, that was a combo. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I don't have a sole passing yards option. It's like you said, it's
so funny. It's
different places.
Yeah, different strokes, different folks, different books. It's so like scattered, and even between FanDuel and DraftKings, the two biggest, there's like the spreads on the same bet are usually right there, but there's way different bets available, which kind of makes it fun. You gotta traverse to find it. I think this bet hits if the Raiders keep the game close. So if the Raiders are kind of going blow for blow and Carr's having a pretty decent day, then I think Gino's going to have to throw into the late third quarter and fourth quarter to kind of seal the deal, which you've seen him do a couple times. Not necessarily a comeback, but that touchdown drive that puts us up 9 or 10. I could see that happening in this game. And if not, if we are kind of ahead earlier, this bet's in big danger, because then I think Wilson has it right. We'll just run the ball, but I don't see it that way. I think the Raiders will put some points on the board too. But all right, Wilson, you are up on your second down bet. What do you got, dude?
Well, I agree that the Raiders will put points on the board. They put up 22 last week on Denver, which is a pretty good defense. Like maybe the best or top 3. We're all right on defense. We're not quite that good. I think the Raiders, like we were mentioning earlier, their offense especially is better than their record would suggest at 3-7. So I'm going to take them another point band bet, 21 to 30 points at plus 150. I'd like to get paid a little bit more just for taking any specific band. But this is the one I felt pretty good about. Even with Tariq Woolen, Devontae Adams might be hard to hold in check, and Jacobs hasn't been too bad this year either. He's
been really good. Yeah, I think Jacobs is kind of like Jacobs gets the shaft, especially in the fantasy world. It's like if you play fantasy football, it's like, oh, he's nuts. He's a jag. He's just another guy. He's not special. He's pretty damn good. He's been good for a number of years. Jacobs is a talented back, and he makes people miss, and he's big, and he's strong, and he can catch the ball in the backfield. Jacobs just good. So Wilson's bet there is landing the Raiders total score between 21 and 30, which I think leads to that's what Vegas thinks, by the way. Vegas thinks they're 21.5, 22 points. So, you're taking a bet. The Vegas is saying that's what we think will happen, and you're still getting paid 150 for it. Yes, it's hard to land that band because things happen, of course, throughout the game. But if you're taking the most obvious bet that Vegas thinks and still getting plus 150, not bad. Brandon, what do you think of the Princetonians' second down lumber there?
Yeah, I had a hard time with this because with my second down bets, I wanted to go with an over because I do think that it's going to be high scoring, but I couldn't quite talk myself into the Raiders over, which was right around that 22 point area for me.
Yeah.
And so, because what the Seahawks have done over these past 5 weeks is they've held teams mostly to 23 points or less. And I was worried enough. Now, obviously, with looking back and the fact that they scored that many points against the Broncos defense, now they did need overtime to get into the 20s. So there's that little bit of a difference, but
and a wide open Devontae Adams who seemingly wasn't covered for some reason. Let's ride curse might be real, probably is, the whole thing.
So I think that leaned heavily into it. I don't think I would take Wilson's bet, but that's why I did go with the Seahawks and the over for the 26.5. It's only minus 111, so another minus bet for me, even on second down. But I wanted to take an over in this game. And the Seahawks are averaging 25.7 points per game through 10 games. And going up against the worst defense in terms of DVOA, like they're not going to score one more point over their average. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I think I like it. Wilson, any reaction to that total points as well? Because if you're hitting the band that you think we might, right, for the Raiders, and then let's get your opinion on this particular one. I mean, then the over should be screaming to you if I'm doing the math right.
Yeah, definitely. I think if I had gone for a Seahawks point band, I definitely would have taken 31 to 40. So I like what Brandon's thinking there.
Well, you think, thinking big. And Brandon, I like, after 10 games, there's enough data. there's plenty of data to say, hey, we're averaging what we average, and Tampa Bay Bucks, this defense ain't, and playing on a sloppy, gigantic chunk divot ridden German field, it won't be right. So I do expect us to come out faster. And we talked about on What If, I expect us to come out throwing. I really do expect us to come out firing the ball as if it was the start of the second half versus the Bucks, and don't treat this team, the Raiders, with any fake respect, essentially. Like, we don't need to just go put the hurt on them, put the pressure on Carr and team, make them throw the ball and get out of what they want to do, which is probably use Jacobs quite a bit and then do chunk plays. So I like the idea that we could throttle them. We're going to have to score early and not, sevens, not threes to hit that 26.5. But I think we're all cheering for that. All right, Mr. Wilson, let us cheer now for your third down bet. What are you leaving us out with?
Well, I'm breaking my 300, and it's actually a 400 plus third down.
Careful.
I'm taking K9 first touchdown plus 450. Just a vibe, to be honest. Just a vibe. I wanted to make some money on third down. He's the most likely first touchdown scorer according to Vegas, and that feels about right to me. So I'm going with K9 first touchdown.
Those are always, I like them because some bets I like are like, you get your, you play your scratchers, right? Whatever. I got a buddy who calls, the lottery scratch off. He calls them rubbers. I don't know why he calls them rubbers, but he does. But I got another friend who calls them the Sunday scratchers, which means to me it's habitual for that gentleman. But like, but for those scratch offs, you got your long plays and you got the ones you kind of know right away, right? So I like to mix it up. And Wilson, this is the one where probably within the first, let's say, 7 minutes of gameplay, we'll know if he hits. So I hope he hit that one. Brandan, let's get to you for your third, and also, of course, any commentary on the rubbers or the scratchers.
I'm gonna gloss over that, and I think I'm gonna go with my third down bet now. I like the Ken Walker to get a touchdown, and so it's incorporated into my third down bet. It's actually a 3-way parlay.
Wowzers.
But tell me if these three things aren't like pretty likely to happen. You got Geno Smith passing touchdowns of greater than 1.5, so 2 or more, and Geno hits on that. Devontae Adams receiving touchdown. I just mentioned. Oh, and Geno has 2 touchdowns in almost each of his last, I think, 4 games at least. There's only 2 games Geno hasn't passed for more than 2 touchdowns in a game this season. And he's going up against the Raiders secondary.
Yep. Dig it.
Devontae Adams receiving touchdown, 1 or more. We talked about that one. He has 10 on the year. And then Ken Walker rushing touchdown. He's had one. The only game he didn't have a rushing touchdown in since becoming a starter was against Tampa. And so for those 3 things to hit, plus 515.
Oof. Wowzers. So 515, right? 515.
Yeah.
Yeah. More spiciness on third down. Now my third down is going to sound kind of lame compared to these two. However, Brandan, you're holding up. You're in for Adam, right? You're here for Adam. You've seen how Adam's kind of done this throughout the year. I wonder if you're chasing waterfalls here, or if you're just making a play that's going to outfox the Princetonian. Mine here, fellas. Brandan, you mentioned it earlier. You actually said the exact numeric. I was fiddling with the lock. I think Lockett's in for a big game. That's the dude I think is going to go off. It might be like New Orleans. Wilson, like you said, getting behind the DBs, behind the safeties. We shall see. Have not seen a lot of that. And I think it also is kind of like throttling back to when Lockett hurt his hamstring. Lockett got dinged and then became like, possession boy, just like short, move the chains. He wasn't going deep anymore. Getting a little bit looser with that. I think he's back to full health after this bye week. Lockett over 80 yards receiving. You could throttle it up to plus 168. A little bit of extra math here too. He's done it 3 times out of 10. Okay, so 30%. He's done it, but he did sustain that injury also. And if that's a little too spicy for the listeners out there, you could go down to Lockett over 70 and still get paid. I think it was like plus 117 or something like that. So not bad either. I'm going to go with over 80. I think Lockett has the big day. plus 168. I just feel Lockett's gonna have, I don't know, 6 to 7 to 8 receptions, and one or two of those is going to be of the 35-yard variety, or more, and he'll be well on his way to quite a big game. So that's my third down bet. All right, before we flip it over, which goes back to honors for the Fail Mary, Brandon, anything you want to say about the third downs, or and anything you want? Your mic, man.
I mean, you went kind of conservative with your third down bet compared to
I didn't self-impose a rule and then break it the next week like Wilson did. So I didn't box myself in to say, but it is still a plus 168, which is
Clinton's only self-imposed rule on this show is losing.
I like to go 1 for 3 and lose money and lose credit and lose a little portion of my soul each and every week. I think I know football. All right, we're on the Fail Mary, the Sunday rubber, the Sunday scratcher, plus 1,200 or more. Brandon, back to you on the tee box.
All right. Well, now with my particular app, I don't have a lot of options in the Fail Mary range. And so this was the one that spoke to me that was in that range. And it is for there to be a tie game at halftime, but for the Seahawks ultimately to get the win, plus 1,400. I could see like a 10-10 game at the half. The Raiders score right before just to tie it up and kind of muck up our feelings going into the second half. But ultimately, Seahawks able to pull away in that third and fourth quarter. That was my best option.
No, and again, we have scattered pictures of the way we were. You're on a different app there, and you can't access some of the other ones, FanDuel and DraftKings in Montana. So that's
even on the ones for like the first and last touchdown to predict, like if I wanted to predict Will Dissly to have the last touchdown, the best odds I get are plus 900. That's not good enough.
No, that's the Montana bias right there. That's the problem.
that is I think by law
for anybody though. Even if who else do I even have? It's like
the Reek Young. They offered the Reek Young.
Yes,
I don't think so.
We won't even mention DS.
Colby Parkinson last touchdown scorer plus 900.
900. That's it. Wow.
So as high as it goes. Travis,
that is not appetizing.
900.
No, those are not. So Sports Montana maybe not offering the the most fun Fail Mary options, and that's the way it goes. It's okay. All right. So, but that's where you were this week. So, hey, it's only $1. So that's, hey, if it hits, listen, if it hits, that results in a Seahawks win, I'll sign for that. I'll take the trepidation at halftime and the Seahawks W if that is our future. Brandon, I'll celebrate with you. All right. My Fail Mary, Brandon, you mentioned earlier it might as well spin the wheel of fish here for the UHF fans out there, the Weird Al Yankovic fans, the wheel of fish with Michael Richards. If we spin the wheel and say, whose tight end game is this? Is it Dissly? Is it Fant? Is it Parkinson? I took a Fail Mary. I think it's a Fant week, and I couldn't find something there was no odds out there. I wanted something with Fant receptions or Fant yards, neither available on the apps I was looking at. However, the Fail Mary, Fant with 2 touchdowns or more, plus 4,200. Now that's some spice. I could see Fant getting 1, and then if he's got 1, well then heck, he can get 2. So plus 4,200, a big spicy meatball for Noah Fant. I think it's a Fant week. Wilson, any reaction, or just throw up your Fail Mary, man? You do you.
I like it. That's taking a big cut, and I think that actually might be the longest odds of any Fail Mary this year. So I'd like to see that one hit.
Me too. I need it. If you guys looked at my record, I've won once out of 10. That's poor.
Yeah, I'll get into my Fail Mary here. I'm taking Lockett 90 plus as part of this parlay. That's the first leg. So we're on the same page there, Clinton. Also go with K9 90 plus. That's rush yards, not total yards. Walker anytime touchdown and Seahawks money line, and that altogether is plus 1,200 right at the Fail Mary. A bunch of things. I mean, I think I might get burned on the Lockett, but I think I really like Walker to have a really huge game this week, especially after getting bottled up a little bit against the Bucks. So that's what I'm rocking with.
I think, and Brandon, in your brain, if Walker achieves 90 plus, does he chunk his way there? Like, or does he kind of aggregate his way there, Rafael Palmeiro style, or does he get like a couple, one or two big, big chunk ones, explosives that really add up? How do you think if K9 gets there, he achieves that 90 plus?
Well, I feel like that's a good number for it to go either way, because at 90, that's 18 carries at 5 yards a carry. And that I feel like that's right in line with his average. Apart, if you take out the Tampa game where he struggled, he might still be averaging 5 yards per carry anyway with the Tampa game. But I like that. That seems like a good number. The Tyler one is probably the one that I'd be most concerned with as being likely enough. But I think those are all in line. It's especially for just to get it up to Fail Mary odds. That's impressive.
Yeah, not bad, right? Plus 1200 is, I actually usually look for the plus 1200 ones just because of the 12. But then I don't see one I like, and I take a Fant at plus 4,200, and I dream a little dream, Phyllis. That's what I do on this end. All right, so let's quickly recap these. I'm going to go Brandon's row, my row, Wilson's row. So Brandon, in lieu of Adam, bet 1. Gino under, it's basically can't throw it. No interceptions for Gino, minus 128. Bet 2, he has Seattle over 26.5 points at minus 111. Bet 3, he goes big dog style with a 3-way parlay. He's got Gino over 1.5 touchdowns. He's got Adams, Devontae, with a touchdown of his own, receiving touchdown, and K9 with what we got there, a touchdown, right? Touchdown. And that was plus 515. So touchdown heavy 3-way parlay. Brandon's Fail Mary, a tie ball game at the half, a Seahawks W when the final bell rings, and that's paying him plus 1,400. Okay, for me, bet number 1 over 47.5. I think this game goes into the 50s. I just think the weather's breaking. I truly believe this is more of a 52, 53 total point game. We shall see. That's at minus 110. Bet 2, Gino over 275 yards, paying me handsomely, plus 148. Bet 3, Tyler Lockett over 80 yards at plus 168. Remember, you could take that at plus over 70 yards and still get some good plus money there. And then the Fail Mary, Fant, 2 times, Chuck Woolery style, back in 2-2, 2 touchdowns, plus 4,200. Wilson, Lockett over 62.5 receiving yards. He likes Lockett a lot today also, minus 115. Second down, he's got the Band-Aid, Live Aid, 21 to 30 points for the Raiders at plus 150. So he's expecting a high-scoring game. Also, third down, K9 with the first touchdown of the affair. Vegas thinks that's the most lowest odds to that way. Still paying plus 450 for a K9 touchdown for the first. And his Fail Mary, Lockett over 90 yards receiving. K9 over 90 yards rushing, a K9 touchdown, Seahawks win, and that's going to pay him plus 1,200, which means he'll spend $1 to profit 12, and that's a good number. We like that number on PNW Prop Stars. All right, so Adam. Oh, wait, Adam. Where Adam? Adam. Or some is. I'm so used to kicking it back to Adam to let folks know how they can get involved. Brandon, please let the good folks know. We're coming out of Thanksgiving. It's the season of thanks. And now we're going into the season of giving and the season of, sharing with each other and humanity. Let the flock know, what can they do to be part of this amazing community?
Yes, if you want to become a member of the flock, you can go to getintheflock.com. You can help support the show, $3 and above, get you into our Discord group where we chat on game day. Shoot, I saw some Thanksgiving wishes in there over the holiday. And yeah, it's just a fun time, chat with fun people, primarily on game day, but anytime really. And then we have our Facebook Ring of Honor group where we're always talking things up, especially with the Seahawks. And you can get in that at $12 and above through getintheflock.com. And of course, subscribe to the show, and that way you never miss an episode. And if you are through getintheflock.com, you get the notifications for when we're going live and that sort of thing. So, but I suppose you get that with the YouTube bell, and that way, if you're subscribed there, there's so many different options. Make sure that you're doing whatever works out best for you. And I see, as we are live, Seahawks 17. How about Madden mentions during the game? Plus Well, 3.5. So setting it at 3.5 plus or minus 3.5. This is a good one because it's the Thanksgiving weekend, but it's not the Thanksgiving holiday. If you're on I think we probably heard Madden mentioned quite often, over 3.5 times in every game on Thursday. But yeah, to have that on a Sunday, 3.5 is a good number, gentlemen.
Yeah, I'll take the under on that one, only because we were I wouldn't even say overly saturated. He's a legend because he's a legend, but it was all John Madden all day yesterday, and that's okay. You know, the guy invented bringing out the turducken, and he invented bringing out the eight-legged turkey in the Winnebago. So I'll continue to celebrate Madden as long as I'm on this earth. Wilson, over 3.5 or under for the John Madden?
I think I'm going to sneak into the under there, but it could be close. It could be close. You never know. You might get some like flashbacks, things like that. Not necessarily where it comes up in the course of the conversation with the commentators, but sometimes the production crew just likes to throw in that stuff, especially when it's going to be a boring game in the second half because the Seahawks are going to be so far ahead. They're going to have to start throwing in those graphics.
The little stories, right? Brandon,
Yeah.
What do you got?
I'm kind of on the under too. I feel like 3 would be, now if it were 2.5, that would probably, I might have to go the over.
Yeah, smash pot over all day.
Yeah, I think Seahawks 17 with you hitting 3.5. I think that's why we're all under. If you set the line at 2.5, it maybe entices me to take the over.
Yeah, and let's remember, folks, we are playing the Raiders, and this is the John Madden team, right? So the chances of it happening are
that is true.
They're pretty good, but that's why the line's at 3.5. So I think it's a well set line, is what it all boils down to.
That's what, and coming in with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Seahawks 17. Yeah, it is a Raiders game, which again, it does bring it up a little bit. And now, does that change your mind on it at all, Wilson?
No, I think I'm going to stick with it. Maybe feel a little more shaky about it, but I think I'm still going to stick with it.
Yeah, I feel like 3 is the perfect number. Now, if I can what do I get for exactly 3? What are the odds there? I don't know.
I was going to send you something. I was like, oh, I could send you something. Then you're like, oh, the odds. I have some delicious leftover pure maple syrup lollipops when I went up to New Hampshire, and they're shaped as a maple leaf because details matter, and they're lovely. So if it's exactly 3,
I'm getting
exactly 3. I'm sending you a pure maple syrup from New Hampshire lollipop shaped like a maple leaf because it's really delicious. I might send it to you anyway. It might just be your Christmas gift, Brandon. I don't know.
I appreciate that. Phil coming in. I believe that we will win. Yes, Phil, the protector. We're rooting hard for our men's USA team this afternoon.
Yes. It's gonna be a good one. So we got about 45 minutes before just the face-off, right? Is it still a face-off? What do they call the first kickoff? Okay. All right, kickoff. I'm a huge soccer fan, clearly. But I will be rooting. I'm interested. I'm rooting hard, and I want to beat the English. Sorry, Ross Bell. And I wonder what Bloomy's thinking. Bloomy just moved to the UK. He's an expatriate, or I think that's the right term.
I feel like his allegiance should still be with the United States.
Should be, but the guy lived in Hong Kong for like almost a decade, so you never know. You don't know what happens overseas nowadays. All right, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go USA. Let's go Hawks. And gentlemen, with that,
there's only one thing left to say:
go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.